Excellent. All right. Thank you for joining us for this company showcase feature on the AI seminar that Technology Alberta co-hosts once a month. Technology Alberta is a volunteer organization that promotes the growth of Alberta's tech sector through profiling our amazing tech companies across the province. Many, like DevFacto, who are actively hiring Alberta talent in the AI space. So I'm very pleased to have as my lead volunteer on this initiative, Justin Stevens, who is on this call. And he is actually the president of the AI Undergraduate Club, as well as a new master's student. So also wonderful to have DevFacto here today. They are participants in Technology Alberta's First Jobs program that many of you may know about. That was actually created with a steering committee, which includes Osmar Zain, recognizing that people need their first jobs in AI and in tech in order to stay in our growing tech sector. And so this program does that. So please check Technology Alberta's website if you want to apply to that program and to the Next Level Jobs program. I'll move on to DevFacto now, which is an amazing company that is actually quite large. So I'm going to leave it to Shanny and her team to talk more about DevFacto. And I also have a special request to Shanny because I've known her in my days as leading Wisest and launching Wiser. Shanny has a history at the U of A in computing science, as a lead in a student group called Wiser, and her role here today at DevFacto. So over to you, Shanny.
Well, thank you very much. So we're going to start introducing ourselves. And Hong, please, next slide. So yeah, my name is Shanny Liu, and I'm currently a unit manager and an active data and analytics consultant at DevFacto. I graduated at the U of A with a master's in science and computing science degree years ago. And I'm seeing my co-supervisor here on the talk, so I better behave and speak to my knowledge my best. Yeah, so how I started with my career is when I graduated with my master's degree. I'm turning from a student to poor student without a job, and honestly, but then at the time, the cloud platform or AI hasn't caught attention back in, I think, in the industry, that is like in 2009. And my main drive is I really want to understand what the industry needs at the time. So I took the industry career path, starting as a software engineering, moving to front end, so build myself in the full stack developer track. And then later on, I really found my passion back in with working with data and people. So I got an opportunity to get in touch with business intelligence realm. So then I started to curve my way back in with the AI applications. And here I am at DevFacto, and leading a team of 5 data professionals, and Hong is one of them.
Make your food.
And so Hong?
Is there enough? I wasn't sure there's be enough for everyone, so I wanted you guys to make yours first.
All right, sorry. So Hong, I'm going to pass it to you to introduce yourself now.
And just a reminder to everyone, if they can mute, I recognize it's lunchtime in a lot of places, and so thank you.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Hongbiao. You can also call me Hong. I'm a senior analytics consultant in DevFacto, and I focus on machine learning and data science. Besides, I also have a PhD degree from U of A in chemical engineering, and my background is in computational modeling and simulation. Thank you for joining us for this event, and it's a really great honor for us to introduce DevFacto and also share some AI-related stories from industry. Thank you.
All right, I think we can move into the agenda. So again, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us at the talk today. I'm pretty sure that the audience here know what artificial intelligence is. So today our main topic is to really bring that industrial jazz to the audience here bringing along what AI presents as an opportunity in the industry and also the challenges that we have seen. And then I will share what we do at DevFacto in terms of data analytics practice and also other practices that we have for service. I will also follow up with more, hopefully, not too painful, but fun story time, what I've experienced in the industry. And then Hong will present a demo on MLOps.
Excellent, Shanny. And can you tell us how long DevFacto's been in business and approximate size and that sort of thing?
Oh, I hope our CEO is not on this call. I believe we started operation in 2006, starting up as a Microsoft stack company, and that's the opportunity and a very nice niche in the industry and in Edmonton. So DevFacto was building a consulting company based on that opportunity, and also our founders and co-founders saw an opportunity, and they were track consultants from the existing and large-scale consulting companies, and their goal is whatever challenge they've seen in the consulting space, they want to create a consulting company that is of lifestyle. They want to take care of consultants and continue to build products and solutions that people love to use, and that's really the core value that we continue to carry on since the company is founded.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks. All right, let's move on to the talk. I think, Hong, you're muted. Let's keep it unmute there.
Yeah, okay. So this is to give you some more background information about AI from the industry perspective. So if you are interested in AI, probably you are familiar with Andrew Ng. So he's really an iconic figure in the world of AI. According to Andrew, AI is the new electricity, and it has the potential to transform every industry. So this is true, and this is happening. And for a lot of companies, especially bigger companies, they are trying to build their own AI team. And also there are a lot of other companies, they are trying to collaborate with third-party AI technological companies. And also we see a lot of startups, they try to build their business with AI in the core. So not surprisingly, from the survey from IBM for more than 4,000 companies, 3 in 4 businesses are exploring or at least thinking about the AI journey. And nowadays we can see a lot of use cases in industries. For example, in finance, recently in DevFacto, we are collaborating with a local business on the anti-money laundering project. And also in finance, you can use AI with the business cash flow prediction and planning, the loan approval default, the risk modeling and the trading. In manufacturing, you can use it to help with the preventative maintenance. This can be very helpful because this can help to reduce the potential downtime in operation. Also, you can use it with the materials design and also the supply chain management. Also in retail, you can use it with the demand forecasting, the pricing optimization. You can also analyze the customers' reviews and comments to help you to improve your service. And also, when the customer look for products on your website, it can also give some customized recommendations.
Yeah, I'm going to pause on this slide here a bit. So currently, Hong and I are assigned at a client, a large Canadian financial institute. So Hong is on the anti-money laundering and fraud detection project to help this client out. And I'm right now an AI product manager to help our client to manage their vendor and also development of this product.
So from here, you can see for AI, it is full of opportunities, but there are also many challenges needed to be addressed in practice. Yeah, this is the survey from IBM. From here, you can see almost the 40% of the companies, they think the biggest challenge is skills. this is actually very good news for each of you, so especially for the students. When you graduate, that means you will be open to a lot of opportunities. So please be ready for that. There are also some companies, they think they don't have enough data, or their data is not ready, or they may don't have tools. And later we will go back to this point and talk more about it.
Yeah, so a quick comment here as well, like to the audience here. For my experience in just the business or the data realm, I'm pretty amazed that like the 31% of the company have a data issue. My expectation is actually way higher than that. So we'll have storytelling time later on. And you can see like the tool is actually the lowest roadblocks compared to the other two. The main issues is people and process around the skills that we bring to the picture. So let's keep that in mind and we can move on with the talk.
If I can ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Is this the company's perception of what their problems are, or is this the real problems they're having? For example, 31% say they need data, or is that what their analysis says? 31% really do need data.
So like in terms of like skills, the company might not even have a data science skills to want to build this project. For data is all sorts of like cleaning, availability, inconsistency, that kind of data issue. So before data science can actually have fun and build a project on top of that.
Yeah, so to answer Russ's question, I believe the survey that IBM did has to do with the perception, because many companies think they have the data, and then when they start working on it, they realize, oh my gosh, I can't use this. It's so bad and it's not collected the right way, basically.
No, that was my question, right?
Yeah. That's exactly it. We have stories on that. And then Hong and we have a mission right now. And then my own ambition, let's say, we are gonna build a AI readiness assessment toolkit. And that's right now, it's in the making, in production, let's say.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so with this background information, I think Shanny is going to introduce DevFacto and also our data and analytics practice.
Thank you. So yeah, so what we do at DevFacto, let's go right into the next slide there. So we have five practices within DevFacto, aside from data and analytics, which I will share in more detail in the next slide. We also have managed application services to offer continuous support to our clients' applications at an ongoing basis. Modern Workplace is to implement and enable our client for smoother collaboration within their workplace by, for example, SharePoint, business process automation using Power Apps. Another example, software design and delivery is our data, as we call it, SD&D team to build a solution from ground up. And this is not just a solution, but is precisely, that's when user experience design team kick in the collaboration to build a software or a solution that people love to use.
Excuse me, Shanny, I just have a very quick question. Are most of your clients in Edmonton and Alberta, or they are outside Alberta and also outside Canada?
Outside Canada. So we have our client come from countrywide in Canada, and we also have clients in the States. So I haven't seen much offshore, let's say like outside of North America, but primarily our clients are within the North American region.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's zoom into the DNA practice, we call that. So we primarily operate around the three pillars we established in the industry and at DevFacto. So data engineering is one. They are crucial because this is the operation that lays down the data foundation within an organization, taking care of the data ingestion framework, making sure the data can be pre-processed and make it easy to analyze for whatever solution sits on top. And then we can also leverage, technologies like data virtualization, the cloud, and big data. When we go into the data analytics pillar, the primary focus is to turn data into information and knowledge. And that covers what's the descriptive, and diagnostic in terms of reporting, because companies still need to do reporting on regular basis, nothing fancy, but they want the information at hand as timely as possible so they could actually triage information or triage problems in their operation and business. And when we have the skill set ready, bringing in data mining, machine learning, and artificial intelligence in general, then we can actually start, innovate and ideate on building predictive model and prescriptive model, even so that we can start looking into the more advanced space to automate decisions for a business. So data management, last but not least, this is really crucial because this is looping into the infrastructure and architecture of the tool stack and how you can actually manage the enterprise data in a secure way and also in a trusted way. We want to make sure that when the data solution is available, they have enough power, I say, for consumption by different applications that potentially can sit on top of them. So we want to make sure that we have that data and infrastructure to power up the data for high availability and high quality. And another point is all data management is about managing the definitions. So I'm pretty sure anyone from the industry on the call, like you've heard, definition is the key. We want one definition in the business for all the business terms they use so that we can actually shoot for data convergence, which I would loop into in the next slide, what it means there. So we can actually have, when user asks different users from different departments asking the same question, they come with one answer. And that goes to, again, the people factor come into. So this is the definition goes to the master data management. Who do we contact when we have questions? And that goes to data stewardship. And then if we are asking for changes or updates, who does that come from? Who has the authority to, approve such update? And that's data ownership. So that goes into the next slide when we go to story time. So I love this comic, first off. If you've seen this, please let me know what the link is, because this is the comic that we've been circulating within friends and coworkers, and I cannot find. Dr. Gu does not tell me where does that come from. So just want to make sure this is not my drawing, but I love this comic because it represents what we see when we stepped into an organization in terms of client, and they were saying, hey, I have data. What can you do? Can you just sprinkle some, AI magic salt or dust onto this bike representation of my data and then turn it into a luxury car and hit the ground running? It's a very ideological view, but in reality, let's see if I can actually request control there. Yeah, so in reality, it's not a smooth path, and that ties into our title. Why is this is a roller coaster ride? It's an obstacle course from the get-go. So here goes the story time. Okay. Somehow the screen is not, oh, there you go, it's reacting. So let's say at the early on of the journey, the client bring on a problem definition after they have consulted the targeted group of users, what the problems are, and then they want to build a solution on top of it. So now going to the data engineering realm, when we want to collect data to see what they have and what's ready, it's not a smooth path because we can assume that, contemporary API from various data sources can serve this information to us, pull it on regular cadence. Cool. But there's quite a number of clients have different service agreement, and the vendor would deliver the data, for example, by email. So without enough discovering or that industrial sense to ask the question early on, your project scope and budget is going to creep. And these are the rocks that we would have to chew through. And if there's no workaround, then you have to build a solution. Say you implement a Lambda function in AWS stack to land the data. You put post-processing on like versioning the data by date, for example. And that's that side of the rocky path to start. data cleaning. So this is data cleaning in the pre-processing state to make the data useful even. We're not talking about, like data cleaning or missing interpretation here just yet. Let's say I work at a client without naming names because of NDA. They have multiple manufacturing facilities across the country in Canada. Each manufacturing facility has its own enterprise resource planning software to capture the data and their operation. And the management of data is determined at each facility, sorry. So now let's talk about this product category product type called pre-roll. I have seen, after consolidated all the 7 sources, the 7 facilities at the time, there are at least 6+ spelling on pre-roll, hyphenated, camel case with an S or not, with an L, including typos. It was a mess. So how can we actually clean that up and make sure the data converge to, like from all these different data sources? We're talking about this one type of product. How do we actually put work on to make sure that we are converging to the same type of product for reporting down the road? So these are day-to-day problems that we see in our client, even to this date, with new technology or not. There are just going back to the management and process issues, let's say. So let's see, once we make sure that all the definition or data cleaned up to be useful, and then we can kick in a little bit more fun on, like the data science realm and data analytics. The core approach, it's how you get the test data, you train it, you build a model. That's not the issue. The issue is, what are we talking about? Definition, definition, and definition again. So it's so common that I've seen that, even within the same organization, different departments can call the same thing with different terms, with lack of master data management. And they also can use the same term on different things. So you can imagine, like, to the data scientist view, this is very confusing. So for example, this is a little bit of funny story I've heard recently, is that, we understand that labels, I say, if you are making a classification model, so the label is the column name that you predict, that you classify to. But and you generate some kind of nice graph, and then the workflow, you want to show business this is working. But when business come in and look at it, so the product team with UX experience, user experience, that is what we call in short UX, is that they're like, I look at this graph, yeah, it looks cool, but can we change the label? So the second they say that, the data science team starts sweating, because you're changing my model when you talk about label. So after that, and they kind of like a freeze in the room, let's say. And then the product team's like, what we meant is really like change the text on screen. So those are in terms of like front-end development, these are the assets on the web page, like the button names, the text names, the columns, the legend. They want to see what makes sense to them, not just to the data science realm. So these are some of the bloopers that I've seen in the industry, and it's, again, ongoing basis. It takes skills and a lot of communication effort to make sure that alignment is in place at all time. So now, once we climb out of this ladder, what do? Like, we hit the finish line, but is it really the finish line here? Let's go back. How do we manage data? How can we actually make sure things are available? So the product I'm helping our client to manage right now is exactly are hitting the data management issue. So one end of it, early on, like, we build a model, we build a surface endpoint for other applications to consume it, so we can surface it to the front end, and the user can look at how great this product is. But then they did not foresee that there are multiple projects happening and consuming the endpoint at the same time. And when one project asked for additional requirement, they changed the endpoint, and then the other project was affected. So how do we actually architect architect, our tech stack here matters early on, and it takes experience to build that in early on, because now they are thinking about, or they have put in just yesterday, additional operation to, put an additional service endpoint to decouple the project, how they consume the same model. So this is one area. And another area is, for security. That's a hot topic because it loops into the legal realm. For example, we know that medical data in Canada cannot exit Canada by law. So I was lucky at the time that when our client trying to stood up an Azure resource to house the data, but that's before Microsoft has established a data center in Canada. So that means that if we are to go ahead, IT approve and set up that resource, we grab all the data and centralize that from the client's different data sources. There is a risk that the data is actually routing to the United States and come back to Canada. So we were lucky to stop that. And that's something that we have to dig through and loop in the data engineering and the architects early on and across the journey. So another story though, so this is going to master data management. So once we got the definition, like we want one definition for one thing at an organization. So this client come up with a product catalog, which is great initiative. So they want to define the product profile, the pricing, and exactly what kind of excise tax sitting on top of it. So they want one answer. What the disaster comes in is that I found out when I have one question to see, to ask for answers, I found that there are 30 plus administrators to manage this one product catalog. So the organization decided to have different group of the admins owned horizontally by different product types. So I mean, okay, well, that's cool. But then there's another group of the clients or the department to own a column of the product catalog. And then this is one column that I, from the business intelligence and analytics point of view, like, can I repurpose this column so I can actually link this product to the backend system ID so we can actually, shoot for data convergency at this realm here. I found out after all 30 admins, I checked with them, nobody owned that one column. So there's like, again, a continuous alignment, and then, put the steering committee or the data owner on the spot. And then we have to make sure that we have a collaboration mindset ongoing. I'm going to pause here. I talk a lot here. And is there any question?
It's not a question. This is Osmar. It's not a question, but a comment about the definitions. So this misalignment with the vocabulary is not actually only in industry. It happens also in research when we work with different colleagues from different fields. When we are collaborating with people in medicine and in science in general, we have this misalignment as well. And the definitions, as you said, is the core. If you don't have it right, you not only have misunderstanding, but you're wasting time, and you're getting something that at the end you'll have to redo. Yeah. So it's not proper just to you guys in industry, but also in the research fields, we have that problem too.
Exactly. I mean, this is alluding to earlier on, this is really the skills, the people, right? So it takes one member on a team to sense that, and then keep driving that communication, keep driving that alignment. You would think that, I talked to you about it once already, why don't you understand? But, there are many things, many priorities that flow through everyone's desk. And that constant alignment is the crucial skills here. So this brings to, thanks Omar for that comment, and 100% agree. And this brings to our current slide here you see on screen. How can we actually minimize that roller coaster ride? How can we make the path of developing a product smoother? Is really cannot live without collaboration. the end goal is we build trust. We build trust in the product, we build trust in the process, and we build trust in the people and the skill that the people brings, right? So the 3 Venn diagram here is what I can think of in terms of collaboration, but there are roles sitting outside of this Venn diagram can actually help facilitate that. I'm gonna leave them out for now, but I'm gonna talk to, it's natural that data engineering collaborate with data analytics, because again, they are cleaning the data, they pre-process the data, bringing into the platform that we operate in so that it's good to go. And then data analytics peer can, build some awesome solution or visualization, on top of those data. But then I want to put an emphasis here from the business stakeholder. Business stakeholder can bring the value that we built, we means data engineering and analytics, from under the hood to light. So it's sometimes I've heard enough from the executives, like the steering committee, they push for the project team to give a demo every week to see how far you have gone. If they don't see it, they don't believe things is happening. So that go back to the trust up there. If you have that, that demo cadence, even if it's not fully functional, but the communication and the information going out at a regular basis would calm a lot of nerves down, let's say from the leadership team or management team. And then in terms of building the product, what business stakeholder, one of them it's very common, is that they bring in the business logic. What does business logic here means is that the business and client value that they are close with, how they operate, what the workflow is in your stakeholders department. And then the data engineering can actually brand this logic into code. And then you can just consolidate, this logic so that the data analytics team here don't have to replicate that work. They could put more meaningful focus time onto building, advanced product and insights, let's say. But then the business logic can help data analytics realm to, help you out with how do I interpret the data? What does it make sense? Like we see numbers, we see trends, but they can actually bring in the product thinking and the business logic here to help you to provide a storytelling and insights, and even define what the metrics to test is. So this product thinking is actually my passion here when I go into managing an AI and developing an AI product, because we need to think about the user, how easy it is for the users to use and to understand. So that we have to loop in the user experience peers to make sure the look and feel of the valuable work we do here are making its appearance, getting the user's attention, and make sure that it flows. And then marketing is, of course, bring the product to light, and they can help you with the wording and verbiage along the way. And here's an example, very generic error message. We all have seen this. How helpful is this? Right, we got an error. Yeah, I know. What does it do? But now let's think about, now we have this version of the error message. At the title, we understand, this is connecting to your accounting data. And the message says, I'm going to read it here. Excuse me for that. It looks like we've encountered an issue. A list of accounting software for selection is currently unavailable. We apologize for the inconvenience. You may now cancel this process and check back at a later time. So from my point of view, as a user, I know what I'm doing here and what's gone wrong. We know that this is an error we cannot recover this time, and what should I do what I should do at this time, right? So this is for clarity and meaningful. That goes back again, all this working gears, let's say, to really power up the engine of when we have idea, how do we turn the idea or innovations work together? How do we turn it into production? And along the way and after, how do we put governance structure to continue the support and maintenance and enhancement on this product? So with that, I'm going to leave it up for comments or questions. Any questions?
So Shanny, this is the last slide in your presentation?
No, for my part, that is.
Okay, very good, very good. So that role, all those so I saw that you have a unit manager role, and I know there's a term of product manager. Can you tell us the difference?
Oh yeah, so unit manager it was a role created at DevFacto because our team, our practices was growing, so we need to divide and conquer and make sure that this role was created to support to provide mentorship and coaching with individual consultants within our practice. So we are, again, a little bit of a marketing pitch because our DNA practice, our core value is being weird and tribal. So we all, we can talk to each other like brothers and sisters, but we also want to support our consultants, especially when they're actively in clients, so we can knock out some kind of like administrative not headaches, but questions early on, and we can coach close in that. But the primary focus is to provide coaching and mentorship for our team members. But product manager is really managing the product, right? So from ideation, for product managers, like the product manager can help enable the business vision, and then keep pushing the development, working with the project manager, pushing, like making it out like a working plan, what the milestones are, what the MVP, I think most viable product is.
Minimum viable product?
Yes, minimum, yes. And going into each phase. So there's a lot of collaboration. So product managers focuses on the product and on the user actually, and usability.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have also a quick question. I don't know if it's a quick question, but when you deal with your different clients, you are trying to help them solve some of their problems or identify some of their problems and their solutions. And then you need people in your own company, DevFacto, to provide this service. Do you think there's more need for people when you're hiring people with skills in the data analytics side or the data engineering side? And in the data analytics side, you need people with more skills in the machine learning or visualization or the data cleaning and feature engineering.
So we are greedy. We look for ninjas in all stack. So our team, even at the manager level, and even my direct report, he's very technical. Like he can build, like he has experience like 20 plus years in the consulting field. He can build ingestion framework. He can code. We all can code. So at DevFacto, we're looking for that niche of for people having the tech stack. Having that consulting skill, communication is really the consulting skill we are focusing on. And also it's a plus that, like Dr. Tao here on board to really power up that advanced analytic engine. So we have done work in like end to end from all kind of work. So when we look for a certain role, we will definitely check into the skills, and then also like which end you are actually strong in, so we can actually see and assess like what we need on team, not driven by client, but it's how we want to build our team. Right now, we want to have a well coverage on all three pillars.
So you train them on site then?
Yes. We
Okay.
train them on site and pre-train them. So I can let Hong to talk about this maybe after this talk, like how much his coaching has been, but it's driven by experience. And our model here, I don't know I cannot speak for other company, but we sell our services. Although if you're the front, you're the face at the client, but you have our back, our entire team. If you don't know something, come back and check with the team, and we help you out with the solution. And we're quick, we encourage, or at least I do, I do believe our entire team and DevFacto does, is to encourage that panic fast and ask fast attitude. If you hit a roadblock, don't spin on your own, just ask. So we have that attitude and work atmosphere to build trust and safety within the team so that they can come to us for question. The goal is that we can push every project and every client to the finish line and on time. Yeah,
I asked the question on behalf actually of many of the students here who don't dare asking questions, but they should, because you have students who are focusing on their research, whether it is heuristic search or something else, and then when they see this talk, they say, "Oh my gosh, should I actually learn a little bit more about visualization, how to present the data to the client? Oh my gosh, do I have to learn a little bit more about data cleaning or data integration or building systems or things like that?" And it seems that, well, you're looking for a ninja, but you're training them also on site to have those skills and face those challenges with your clients.
Yeah, so we definitely provided training on site, and then we are putting in the structures. So if you're fresh out of school, internship is awesome. DevFacto is open for internship. We have summer students even throughout during COVID, and we just sent away 3 as summer ends. And I learned right before this talk that we are welcoming some computing science ninjas, let's say. Yeah. So we are actually up for training. And then I have to say, like, we actually also has a foundation, a charity project, let's say, on the side to not even university student, but high school students. So one of our consultants, here's a story. One of our consultants was at a contest for some programming contest in town, and he spot some really good high school talents for building a software solution. But being in high school, they cannot apply funding, all that. So during summer, we launched a program that we actually train them and donate consulting expertise and time to train these high school students, bring them into DevFacto, and then we link them to clients who have low budget or limited budget, so that the high school student can build a solution for them, and we coach them along the right way. So get that industrial experience as early on as you can. But if you want to come in, internship is a great program. And even if you have the technical skill, and then let's train you on the communication and the rest of the skill we need to. So we are heavy on training our own consultants, and we care about your career path as well and career growth.
There are some questions on the chat.
Do you accept work? Well, I'm working from home, so that's a yes. And my home here lives in Toronto. Yeah. I'm in Edmonton. I have another member in Victoria. And we can, if issues arise, like that has come up during COVID, one of our member, not in our practice, but in the SD&D side, he has to respond to his family situation in Europe. He moved back there and then continue to work for us. This is technical work, and then as long as you have the internet, you can work for us.
Shanny, I got a question, if you don't mind. My question is about the multidisciplinary individuals, people who have different backgrounds and can bridge between different expertise. I was wondering if you could comment a little bit about that. And just to clarify, my background is in agriculture. And we're doing a lot of, starting to do a lot of work in machine learning and AI and using those technologies for precision agriculture and handheld devices and so on. And I often find out that when we communicate with people in data analytics, computing science people, the communication, because we speak different languages, if you will, is hard. We have meetings, we conclude meetings, everybody thinks that they understood what they should be doing. We come back in a week, in a month, then we're back in a loop or in a circle repeating where we left off a month ago. How useful is it to have, or how how much is it needed to have those kind of individuals who, in my example, say, have an agricultural background, they understand machine learning, they're not an expert, but they can bridge between the two sides, if that makes sense.
Yes, so this is the type of ninjas that I am interested in. So let's talk after the talk. So like we are not like strictly for a specific discipline. If you like, we have consultants like Hong here. His domain is engineering. I'm sorry, Omar.
No, it's okay. It's just a phone.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, so the discipline, we value the skill as well as your discipline, and it really come down to when you're at interview, what you can do, right? So we're watching that, you know, if you have the communication skill, that in my head is a win, because that's what we need for consultants. So we can come back to it. I'm watching time here, so I know that Hong has a demo to do to show you as an example. Should we move on there? And yeah, I believe we do have one-on-ones after this talk here. So I'll be staying for an extra 30 minutes, and Hong, if you can to stay for an hour, then we can have more chat there.
Excellent. Ali's giving you the thumbs up. Please proceed.
Okay, so yeah, now let's talk a little bit about MLOps or MLOps. So it is basically means machine learning operations or DevOps for machine learning and data science. But before MLOps, let's see a traditional machine learning or data science workflow. And so initially, you will have to scope the project with the business partner. And this is very important because you need to decide what to work on. After that, you may define and collect your data, do the data cleaning, preparation, engineer features, then train your model, tune the model, and compare model performance. Then you may also want to do error analysis, which is very important. And this may drive you back to collect more data or do further data cleaning or create new features. So after you have done this a couple, sometimes probably you will get a model with the performance that you are satisfied with. And then you will think about the deployment. But at this point, you are still far away from the finish line. Because unlike the traditional software for the machine learning model, it actually interacts with the real world. For example, once your model is in production, you will always get new data. Then you feed your model with the new data, then get the prediction. But the thing is, the world changes. So that means probably your data will also change. So as your model performance. This is so-called the data drift or model drift. And this may mean that probably you will need to frequently train your model, put your model into production, and you can do all the processes manually, but this can be very time consuming. And also it has a lot of potential risks. For example, is your model reproducible? And also how can you version different data sets or models? How do you keep track of every experiment? Yeah, this is where MLOps comes in. So this is a reference architecture from Microsoft Azure. So basically, it is built with the Azure pipeline, which is based on Azure DevOps. It is used for the build and release pipeline. And also it uses the Azure machine learning. Azure machine learning is basically a cloud service that you can do the model training, evaluation, or registration management at scale. So basically for this architecture, it has three main parts. The first part is the build pipeline. This is basically to build and do a lot of tests. The second part is about the retraining pipeline. This is to retrain your model, evaluate your model, and release your model. The third part is the release pipeline for continuous delivery. Now let's go to more details about each of the part. For example, to make this pipeline work, initially you can set up some triggers. For example, maybe you can get a new data set, or if you have some changes on your code. So let's say if you get a new data set, this will trigger this build pipeline. So basically you will do the test on the data to make sure the schema and the distribution of your data is it's the same as before, or it is what you expected. Or if you have some changes on the code, this will do some test on your code to make sure the quality of the code conforms with some internal requirements. or the code at least functions well. And then you may also need to provision some services on Azure Machine Learning. For example, you can create a workspace. A workspace is basically a centralized place that you can keep track of all your experiments, your data, and your model. You may also need to create a machine learning computer. It is basically a cluster of virtual machine that can scale up and down automatically. So you can use this to develop your models. So once the tests are passed and also you have your service ready, then this build pipeline will publish the machine learning pipeline. The machine learning pipeline is basically an orchestrated machine learning flow. So you can do your data preparation and model development in a reproducible way. So once this machine learning pipeline is published, this will trigger the retraining pipeline. So it will begin to train the model, evaluate the model performance, and also compare the model, the performance of the model with the previous model. So if the new model doesn't perform better, then this model will not be registered. But if the model performs better, it will be registered in the model registry. So this is a centralized place that you can version and keep track of your models. So once a new model is registered, this will again trigger this release pipeline. So basically it will extract the model and package it with the Python dependencies and a scoring script to make a Docker image. Then this image will be deployed to the Azure container instance. This is actually a non-production environment, but this can be used to test your model. So after the model passes your test, then you will begin to deploy the model into the production environment. And also you can test the API to make sure the image is deployed successfully. So finally, after the model is deployed, the model performance will be continuously monitored. So let's say later if your model performance decreased or touched some baseline performance, then probably this whole pipeline will be triggered again. So from here, you can see the MLOps. And the basic idea is to build an end-to-end automated machine learning cycle. And also to make sure the cycle is reproducible, repeatable, auditable, and reliable. Here now let's see a quick demo. So basically, here it is Azure DevOps. Here you can use the Azure pipelines. With the pipelines, you can build, firstly, you can provision the service. Yeah, you can use the YAML file to provision services from the Azure Machine Learning. Basically, we create a workspace and also set up some computer resource. Then after this, another pipeline is build pipeline. So yeah, so from here you can see the build pipeline. It has several jobs. Firstly, we check the data or check the code quality. Then it will do the training, evaluation, and register your model. And finally, the third pipeline is a release pipeline. So once you have some new model registered, it will the model will be deployed in the non-production environment first, then the production environment. And another thing is every time after each run, you can also go to the Azure Machine Learning platform. Yeah, sorry, it is a little slow. Yeah, so from this Azure Machine Learning platform, all the experiments, the data set, and also the model will be versioned and recorded. For example, here you can check the experiment. If you later, let's say the whole cycle being triggered, you will run another experiment. So if the name is the same, it will give a different number to show the versions. And if you click on the experiment, you can keep track of all the relevant information to make sure if later if you have many collaborators, all the process will be reproducible. Another from the data set, you can see different versions of your data set. So later, if later you get some new data, it will give, if they have the same name, it will give a different version number. And also you will also have all your model artifacts recorded here. And finally, if your model get deployed, you will get an endpoint so that you can interact with your model directly. Yeah, this is what we wanted to share with you today. And we hope you have a great time. Thank you, everyone. yeah, please let us know if you have any questions, or we can go to the one-on-one session.
Excellent. I know that there were a couple of questions in the chat. There's one right now. Can you read that, Hongbiao? Oh, many thank yous as well. So there's a question to what degree the interpretability law and potential failure of machine learning methods impedes its applicability for real-world problems.
Well, yeah, so for the machine learning, basically it is experimental in nature, right? So for sure, we need to do a lot of experiment, especially at the beginning stage. Even to find out the exact problem we need to work on, that will take some time. And let's say finally you get a machine learning model, but definitely you need to make sure you can achieve certain degree of interpretability. At least you need to make sure your business partner, they are comfortable with the understanding of the model, like how does the model make the prediction.
And then there was a question, what's most applicable coding software to learn for collaboration modeling?
For this one, Shanny, do you have any comments?
Software. If I understand the question, collaboration modeling. I think
that was based on your earlier part of the presentation. I was just going through the chats and I don't think it had been answered yet.
Yeah, okay, I see it. I wasn't thinking about like coding a software, but it's more like a practice. It's a methodology. What we do around the work, there's no one software can solve the problem. The problem is like within the people. How do you actually execute? Like we can have all sorts of software and tools to help us. What separates you being a good consultant or even being a good in your role that you serve is really how you execute it.
Well said. And Stephen has a question. What would you suggest to students not in computer science, but who want to get into the field of machine learning to do to get in? Should we take courses? Any suggestions of courses or approach?
So internship is one. If you have to drive, do your own pet project on the side. Show us what you have tried. We're really open, like, because our team is not only from computing science. I think I'm one of the three that is the odd ones from computing science. We have like our Power BI reporting ninja, like who is right into the structure from data modeling point of view. They are ecom students or to graduate the background. We had consultants who move on to Toronto and pursue like a data science education on her own and by decision. She is from the agriculture with a master's degree as well. But we all understand that, you know, as you go into advanced like post-secondary education, you cannot get away from the analytics and you cannot get away from using the tools. These, we understand that it's a skill set you have regardless what discipline you're in. The core is, you know, like, this is actually good because for consulting, we don't want to lock ourselves into one field, because we want to be experienced as possible across the industry, different like finance, agriculture, construction. But as long as you have data, these skills are transferable. So train yourself and then get some demo and then get internship, practice. Show us what you can do. And that's all.
Oh, very good. Well, those are some wonderful closing words. So I see by time we should probably close it up. Thank you so much, DevFacto, Shanny, Hongbiao, and great to have Russ and Osmar with us today, as well as Sabina. I know that you have booked some one-on-ones or between Sabina and Shanny. I think you know what's next here.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have any formal ones actually booked. Shanny and Hongbiao do have some time for, Shanny has a half hour. And then Hongbiao has, I think, said he's available for an hour. So if you want to keep going on a discussion here, if there's any students or participants who want to stay on, we can do that. Or if anyone wants to speak one-on-one, if we want to sort of close off this meeting, you can just message me and then we can get in touch and set up more private one-on-one over Google Meets or something a little less formal. So
Well, I
Don't
think we can,
know.
we'll close the recording and then anyone who wants to stay can ask questions. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
stay
you
here.
very much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.